I'm ready for all today. Through all the pain, all the way, all the way. The fight to one for all, my life to love, we taking it all the way, all the way.
Mocked draft season. It is definitely my favorite time of the year because this is where the theory crafting starts. It's where you start constructing your roster. It's exactly when you start conforming how you want your fantasy football team to look like. Do you want the heavy RBs, the wide receivers, the tight ends, the early kicker and defense, the no RB, all those different type of strategies? We're going to talk about it, when you should apply it, and how you could use it to manipulate the draft for you to come away with the pre-draft victory. What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Nader alongside the #1 Australian analyst, Sheahan. How you doing over there?
I tell you how I'm doing, man. I am happy to be back. It is good to be back talking football. We've taken a bit of a break. I think we needed to recharge the batteries somewhat. And now I am just pumped for this upcoming fantasy season.
I know you just sent me a message. It said mock draft ? And I knew right away that it was going to go down. Oh yeah, we're back, baby. We're back. So did you go on vacation or anything while we had a little hiatus?
Yeah, been here, there, and everywhere, man. Been to France for a week. That was incredible. Definitely recommend that. Went
so
back
you surrendered.
Funnily enough, the place we went was the last holdout in France. So, they really were embodying the works of someone else or something else that I've done recently. Bruce Springsteen, No Surrender. There for the good people of La Rochelle. Pretty cool town. Eating seafood, basically straight out of the ocean. Drank a lot of rosé. Good times. Ooh. Also, went to the creepiest fucking museum there. It was the Automaton Museum. And they were like puppets, like animated puppets. You ever been to Disney and seen like the Hall of Presidents, or like,
to be honest,
the Country Bear Jamboree, or like what's the name of that fucking mouse?
Mickey Mouse?
Not Mickey Mouse.
Minnie?
Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh,
and
what?
You've got like the Chuck E. Cheese band. I think that's a thing, right?
And they're kind of creepy, but yeah.
Yeah, they're like drumming away, and it's real creepy. This was a whole museum of that, with creepy circus music and like animated taxidermy and some very, very outdated racial stereotypes. I would recommend that. I would recommend going there just for that, because it was so fucking weird.
Racial stereotypes are never outdated. What?
Might be the greatest place I've ever
been. Oh, true. My only rebuttal is racial stereotypes are never outdated.
I couldn't speak to that. I suppose you could get away with those statements more than I would.
I mean, I guess. Alrighty. So you went to France. You went all around Europe. I mean, you're in Europe, so I mean, I guess you went different places of Europe. But I mean, I heard you went to the U.S. as well.
Yeah, spent a couple of days in New Jersey. It was really, really hot. But always good to see family. And for a lot of them, or in fact, one of them, I hadn't seen her since before I'd beaten her twice in consecutive years in the fantasy playoffs. So it was nice to remind her that I'm better than her at this, and remind her husband that he's less of a man than me.
That is true. You had me at beating this woman, and then I was like, oh wow, respect, wow, nice job. And then you said in fantasy football, and I was like, oh, still respectable. But
we did start kicking around plans for draft season 2024. Maybe all getting together for like a big family holiday with a live draft there, which I think would be a lot of fun. But we'll see. What seems like fun now may not be fun in 13 and a half months time.
Yeah. True. But fantasy football related items is always going to be fun. I actually left California for one of the first times in a very long time.
Do you live in California?
I do. I left California, I mean.
Oh, you left? I thought you said I went to California.
No, I left California. I went to Florida, actually. I went to Daytona for
Nice.
and I decided, I'm gonna sit there on the beaches and I'm gonna relax, and I did that. It was a pretty crummy thing to do, but I thought it was hilarious, and it meant to be a joke that went a little bit too far, and I didn't really for it. I thought it was gonna get stopped. Okay, so at the hotel, when you go to like the bars, the swimming pool, and on the beaches, I didn't know you could do this. I found it from somebody else sitting there, that you could place your shots, beer, alcohol on your room number. And then, they bill to the room, and then, it's on your credit card, and then it just billed on your credit card when you're checking out and all that. I was just trying to be funny with the bartender, and I gave him a different room number because I thought he would probably like ask for my room key, something, right? To verify that was my room number. Yeah, he didn't.
No,
he didn't. So
just happy for you to commit fraud.
Yeah, yeah. So I just gave him a random room number, and when I realized that it was gonna go through, I was like, "Hey guys, shots on me!" So I bought like maybe like 5-6 people shots on a different room, and I gave a nice tip. To be fair, still on that room.
Yep.
And I might have done it more than once.
There you go. Welcome to Florida.
Welcome to Florida. So whoever got that bill,
when you say
good luck.
I left California for the first time in a while, was this I was legally allowed to leave California for the first time in a while, and immediately went back to a life of crime on the other side of the country?
I signed an NDA. Can't talk about it, actually. I'm sorry.
I'm surprised. I feel like, although that's clearly scummy behavior from you, that's disappointing checks and balances from the hotel.
I felt like that too.
Say two things: get your processes right, and second, pay your staff better so they care, because the staff don't care.
You would think I hopefully I left a nice enough tip for him to go, it doesn't even matter if it wasn't.
Whenever I've been to a hotel where that's the deal, you have to sign and charge it to the room. And I travel a bit for work. We get to do that. That's it's quite a nice little perk of my job. But yeah, pay your employees more, hotel. Pay them enough to care.
Yeah. So you know what? That is 100% correct. I blame the hotel for allowing me to charge other people for my drinks.
I don't think that's really a defense that would fly in a lot of places. It's very Deshaun Watson. But in this separate occasion, so long as these people didn't have to actually pay for it themselves,
hopefully
it's a victimless crime.
Yeah, hopefully
if they did, then it's a very victim-full crime, and then I don't endorse that behavior.
Yeah, hopefully they said, you know what, hey, we didn't do this charges. This is another room or another person, and they got it taken off the bill. And if that's the case, I got a couple of free drinks, or a lot. Yeah.
Well, I'm a big believer in karma, and maybe this will come. Maybe this will circle all the way around.
It's funny because I can't believe in karma because karma's a bitch, and I don't get any.
That makes sense. Are we talking? Are we ready to talk mock draft?
All right,
or just
are we
ready to mock draft? Would be how you use that sentence.
Well, of course, we should be talking about different mock draft strategies. I feel like we can kind of alternate on a strategy, talk about them, and then more importantly, when you should utilize it. Because, if you're going to go 0 RB and your pick 101, it's probably not the best idea.
No.
And if your pick, 112 in the draft and you want to hoard all the RBs, it's doable, but the cream of the crop is already going to be taken at that point, and you're kind of left with scraps, and maybe you kind of have to zig when you zag and all that good stuff. So, knowing strategies and knowing different strategies is important, but also knowing when to utilize those strategies for your full advantage is probably the best advice I could give somebody that wants to get better at drafting. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I don't think there's anybody better than me at mock drafts and just drafting and constructing a team in general.
I think I'm better than you at it. I think you're. Don't get me wrong. I think you're pretty good, but
okay.
I think I'm pretty good as well.
Yikes!
I would say the mistake a lot of people make, and I think I'm in danger of doing this year, is fighting this war with the last war's tactics. Because a lot of people, I think, switch off, or they're just plugging back into draft season now. They'll plug into a couple of podcasts, maybe 2 weeks out from their first mock draft, maybe even a day out from their first league draft, and they're like, oh yeah, I know who these guys are. But the landscape shifted, And I think it's looking a lot different this year than I think we both thought it probably would.
Yeah.
And I think it's... Well, sorry, I should say, it's looking a lot different this year than we probably thought it both would last year, looking a year in advance. And this is going to be a difficult year to draft, and I think it's important, maybe more than ever, to be flexible, to be fluid, because those old kind of time-tested strategies, or like the meta for a couple of years there was you go RB heavy early, you wait on a quarterback. It's starting to change. You've got to be flexible. And I think over the next 6 weeks as we lead up to the first NFL games of the season, we're going to test out a lot of those strategies to kind of make sense in our own minds as well of how best to approach it this season.
And I just want to put a huge shout out to people who do their league drafts before the preseason. It takes a special type of sociopath to draft before the preseason games start. Because I'm sure there's a couple of leagues that got gun heavy and drafted, and somebody took Nyheim Hines, and he's out for the season. Yeah,
I'm not sure picking anyone to do anything whose name sounds even slightly like Nyheim.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Terrible.
But that sucks for him. I'm a big fan of Nyheim Hines. I'm a big fan of all Nyheims.
I'm not.
That does not surprise me. I think here's a question without notice.
Okay.
I think one of the worst types of fantasy player, and we both know people like this because I think we both know the same people like this, who come out of dynasty rookie draft season and are immediately like, let's get a whole bunch of redraft leagues going because they just love the draft and everyone loves the draft, but like, just chill the fuck out, man.
Drafting is fun.
Drafting is fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I feel like you're not a big best ball guy, are you?
No, not really, because as much fun as drafting is and constructing your team, doing starts and sits is just as fun. And I tried doing best ball. I forgot about it. Maybe I won my league. Maybe I got last. I have no idea. I forgot.
I guess that's the thing about best ball is it makes fantasy football disposable.
Yes.
Like, I like having like one best ball league or maybe like two, and it's just nice to see how that goes because that's the test of your drafting ability, really.
Yes,
like because that's seeing how your mock draft plays out.
Yeah, and the draft will get you to playoffs, but the waiver wire will get you to the championship. And that's the big thing people need to understand is that you're not going to win your league off of your draft because there's a whole season to go through, but you're definitely going to lose your league if you don't have a good draft.
How many leagues, and then we're talking about like the leagues that most people play in, like your office league, your family league, your league with your friends from school. Yeah. How many of those leagues do you think are won by the person who's just like 10% more plugged in than everyone else in the league?
I want to say
you don't need to do much to win most leagues. You just need to do slightly more than the next.
Yeah, I want to say about, just putting 10% more effort, I want to say about 70% of these.
I would 100% agree. Like, the person who checks the waivers each week has a huge advantage because there'll be people who forget. And you're not going to be the only one in your league, but, like, if you're plugged in and doing it, then, that's half the battle. And if you're listening to this, you're probably one of those people anyway.
Exactly. And I always try to tell people to join competitive leagues and ones where everybody is equally putting that type of effort in because one, it's just a lot more fun. Two, those people typically those people are more enjoyable to be around because you're consistently throwing football talk, you're able to chit chat, talk about players you like, don't like, and curious about rookies, veterans, all that good stuff. I usually try to steer away from what I would say more inexperienced people, and especially free leagues. I don't recommend joining those just because usually, if you lose the first 2 weeks, people just stop caring, and then that just ruins the league in general. But you shouldn't be putting a lot of money in though either.
Our family league, we have two people, brother and sister, who are every year really gung ho, talk a lot of shit at the draft, and then like 3 weeks in, they're like, "All my fucking players are injured." Like, don't be that guy, but like that's why you have the waiver wire. Like, yeah, it's difficult, but it's not impossible. That's why you have tools to improve your team. Trading, waivers. Like, you're plugged in. Get plugged in, and you're going to win. Winning fantasy football is
fun.
Pretty easy.
As long as you you don't have to put maximum effort. As long as you put effort in, stay informed, make educated decisions, usually you'll put yourself in a position to win. And that's all that really matters. And that's all you could really ask for, because at the end of the day, you put the players in position, and then you hope they perform on the field, and then it reflects in your fantasy football record.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a bit of luck involved in that. Like we talked about Naeem Hines' injury. There's luck involved picking the right team each week. There's plenty of skill involved in that. There's elements of luck. There's the ball that goes off hands and is picked versus the ball that goes off hands and is caught for a touchdown. I don't know where I'm going with that. I don't know why I'm talking to you people like you've never heard of this game before. We're just getting out. This is our preseason, basically.
Yeah, no, it is.
So we're working out the kinks. Maybe I'll be taken out for the second half of the game.
God. All right, so let's discuss a couple strategies. I'll start one off with, and let's do the basic one, the RB heavy one, and when I usually like to utilize it. And that's usually when, first RB heavy is first 3 rounds you're taking RBs. Doesn't matter. You're taking that RB. Your RB1 slot's filled, RB2 slot's filled, and your flex is filled. You got 3 RBs that you're must starting at every point of the season. I mean, regardless of, unless they're on a bye, injury, and all that, they're in your starting lineup. And why I like to do the strategy is because RBs are just so difficult. And it's getting even more and more difficult to track down RBs that you can consistently put in your starting lineup. And usually teams with strong running backs, one, they're scary to go against, because they're going to get 15 touches minimum, 70 yards minimum, and hopefully a touchdown. If they do that, they're putting up, maybe 3 catches, 20 yards, and they're going to put up 15 fantasy points consistently, and it's a solid floor. Like, your team's not going to throw up a donut when you draft a bunch of running backs, because, they're consistent, easy to get fantasy points. They're going to do it, right? As long as they're not on a trash team that falls behind early, injuries, all that good stuff. You got yourself a little bit of a floor that you can rely on. Wide receivers, they can go off, yeah, but they also can drop a donut as well. And, while running backs have the high floor, lower ceiling, wide receivers have the high ceiling, much lower floor, which is why I kind of recommend, especially if you're inexperienced, to go heavy RBs and pick them early and often when you can. Something when I usually like to utilize this is when I'm early in the draft. If I'm like 101 to 105, those picks, I try to go RBs. 1, because you have the ability to take an elite RB. 2, in the second round, you have to wait quite a while for your pick again. Chances are all the elite RBs are gone, and even the elite wide receivers are gone at that point. So you kind of have your opportunity to either take a mid-tier RB or a mid-tier wide receiver. At that point, in my personal opinion, I'm probably taking the mid-tier RB just because of the consistency factor that I mentioned earlier. And then in the third round, you're going to go with that RB again, because the turn to the third round is going to be relatively close to your pick in the second round. So you're not going to have too much space to be able to realistically make a huge difference in the wide receiver room. You might as well just go ahead and take that third RB. And now you got 3 solid RBs. And especially when the bye weeks happen, that you're always going to be able to interchange RBs in your RB1 and RB2 slot. It doesn't have to go in your flex. You have a bye week, your RB1's gone. Okay, cool. You just put your the third RB you drafted in the RB1 slot, and you can just substitute somebody else in the flex, and you're good. It gives you flexibility in the running back room, and especially in waivers. Wide receivers are typically pick-upable, I should say. Like, you can usually kind of muster up. I want to say usually you can find a wide receiver that's going to get you at least 5 catches, 50, 60 yards, and if you're playing half-point PPR, you're damn near 10 fantasy points right there. And as long as you find semi-consistency in that role, then you're going to have a pretty solid team. Sheahan?
So, I don't disagree with all of that.
Okay.
I disagree with quite a big amount.
All right.
Definitely, if you're early in the draft, take that elite running back, because I mean, we talk about zero RB, heavy RB, all these sorts of things. And I think there's a slight misnomer in that we are essentially classifying someone like Ramondre Stevenson in the same class as Christian McCaffrey. And then even from that point, someone like J.K. Dobbins in the same class as Ramondre Stevenson. And someone like, I don't know, he's come up so much today, someone like Nyheim Hines in the same class as J.K. Dobbins. Now, there is a big gulf in talent there between Christian McCaffrey and Nyheim Hines. So you're not looking at it and just going, we have to have RBs because RBs are gold. That's an entirely wrong way to look at it. But when there is that absolute elite running back, talking about a McCaffrey, an Eckler, I guess that's maybe Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, maybe. Even though I think Chubb's probably a little bit too high in that category. Excuse me. That's the time. You take the RB early then. I would like to say pretty much that when you're in the middle, I think that probably that pick 1-4 to about the 1-8 this year, you want to be looking at the club sandwich approach to drafting, which I talked a little bit about last year. That's where you get the elite RB early, and then you smash wide receivers, tight ends, maybe a quarterback. That's your filling. And then a few more running backs in the middle as your bread. Then more filling, the wide receivers, the tight ends, and then more bread at the bottom being your depth running backs, guys who just need a chance. And the reason is running backs are replaceable. We've seen that in the NFL. We might not like it as fans, but teams know it, that you can take a guy out and you can have another guy. Look at Detroit last year. They brought in Jamal Williams, who had a balls-out season, and he is just a guy. And they got rid of him. They should have kept him, but they got rid of him because he's just a guy, because running backs are eminently replaceable. You say you can find a wide receiver on the bench that could 5 catches, 50 yards. Yeah, you absolutely can. You can find those guys on waivers, but they're not going to win you weeks. What you can find on waivers is a replacement player for your running back, because it's a plug and play position, and with now more pass catching running backs, those options are even wider. So you can find yourself a floor there. As you say, that's your floor. Wide receiver is your ceiling. I would rather focus on the ceiling with those boom bust wide receivers, because to win this game you need points, and that means you need ceiling offset with floor. Which is why I'm not a big heavy RB guy. Definitely last year in Scott Fishbowl, I went heavy RB, and my team looked good as a result, and I did quite well in it. But all my winning teams have been light on running backs, if I'm totally honest. And that's the way I kind of see this playing out. I think for me the big wrinkle is how early do you go tight end, how early do you go quarterback. Those of you who've been listening for a couple of years, I like waiting on my tight end. But there's a couple, a bit like McCaffrey and Eckler. If you can get yourself Travis Kelce, I think there is an argument for him early on, because he is such a difference maker. But it's understanding where those breaks between who's just a guy and who's the absolute elite, and not getting those lines blurred just because of those positions, that I think is what really fucks people up.
That's fair. That's fair criticism, because obviously when you're stretching and reaching for RBs, you're going to be lacking in the wide receiver position. And obviously people like Cooper Kupp, they're definitely going to have those massive games. But he's also had a couple of semi-stinkers out there, which is why I tend to personally like to go heavy on the RB, especially early in the draft picks. Especially if you're your pick 1 through 4, 1 through 5, so on, making sure you're getting those. The sandwich though, I do semi-agree with the mid picks. With you said about 5 through 8-ish.
I'm thinking more like you take the elite RB in round 1,
yeah,
and then the rest is your filling until you get to, I guess like round 6, 7, 8. You're looking at those RBs, but it depends where the teardrop is, and we're going to see that over the next 6 weeks of where you actually start to target those running backs.
Yeah, and we're gonna also start seeing this. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say that's the flex you need to understand your league and to understand your strategy. You need to know what RBs you're targeting when.
Exactly, and at the same time, a fun little statistic. I usually like to throw this around every year because it's true, and I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Is that people, or I think Yahoo has said this, people that have the sixth pick in the draft have the highest statistical chance of winning. I think they win 40% of the leagues, which is insane to me. That the sixth pick, which is usually, of course, heart of the draft, in the middle. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Because, I mean, that's not here specifically saying, all right, guys, try to aim for 6, but it makes sense because you have the ability to be fluid. Like, you have the ability to, fill up your sandwich. That the picks at the end of the draft don't have that opportunity because, if you pick 112, like you are in this mock draft, you are severely limited by who you can pick. Like me personally, I could probably, they're probably not going to be there, but like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Bijan Robinson, Saquon, Jonathan Taylor. I really doubt Austin Eckler would drop to me. I have so much flexibility on who I could pick because it doesn't matter. I don't want to say it doesn't matter who I pick, but I'm getting an elite player regardless of what happens. Now in the second round, I have the flexibility to pick what everybody else hasn't yet. So if Cooper Kupp's still available, which obviously he's not going to be in the second round, I have the ability to scoop him up.
Yeah.
And it's huge.
The beauty of being in those middle slots is give or take, there's only 12 picks. Or there's the number of players in your draft between each pick. And I guess that's true wherever you draft from. Except if you're first or last. Because you have to wait for everyone to go and then everyone to go again. That you're having to project further in front than anyone else. Yeah, it's fun to double tap on the turn and get 2 guys that are probably in the same tier each time. But if you're in the middle there, you can go, well, hang on, there's been a run on quarterbacks. I can pick mine now. Or I can start a run on something. If you're at the start or the end of the draft, then you're sort of beholden to the whims of the rest of your league. Yeah, and that's fine. It just requires a different skill set.
Yeah, you kind of have, when you're in the end of the draft, whether the first or the last, you kind of have to conform your draft to how everybody else is already drafting.
Yeah.
And you don't have the ability to wait on a player. A lot of the times you're going to be reaching for somebody because, after your second pick, you pick 112 and now you're 2-1 in the second round. There's 23 picks until it's back to yours again.
Yep.
You don't have the ability to sit there and go, oh, I'll wait for this player because I can maybe grab him the next round. No, there's 23 different picks, 23 different players taken before your pick again, which means you do not have the ability to sit there and wait on a player or go for the value or go for if you're stuck between a player or two or even 3 players, you have to understand that the ones that you don't take are going to be gone by the time your pick reoccurs. So you do have to reach.
And mentally, it's a difficult place to be as well. It's difficult to stay switched on that entire time and look at where players are going, keep track of players. It's just easier to draft from 5, 6, 7 than it is first or 12. And everyone wants the first pick.
Yeah, true. It's easy to keep track of picks when you're in the middle of the draft because it's always so close to your pick again. Like you pick, 12 more, you're back on. 12 more, you're back on. 12 more, you're back on. And you're able to say, okay, this guy, he's going heavy on RBs. Okay, I got to take one before he takes them all. And then you have the ability to take an RB. Or, oh, this guy's taking a lot of wide receivers. Let me make sure I snag mine before this. Oh, he took a tight end early. Oh, somebody else took a tight end early. Oh, let me make sure I grab like George Kittle, for example, or Mark Andrews before somebody else does. And you're able to kind of, okay, you secured your tight end. Okay, you secured your wide receiver. Okay, you secured your RB. All right, now let's try to let's pick up the cherries that other people didn't pick and then you really create that fantasy team in the middle of the draft that you just don't have the luxury of doing it at the end. Not saying it's a disadvantage, but you just don't have that luxury.
Yeah. Yep, totally. You ready to do this?
Alrighty, let's have some fun. So in this draft, Sheahan randomized it for himself, not for me. He is the 12th pick of the draft at the end, so he's going to be the guy who has the daunting task of drafting at the end of the draft. And for fun, and because I discussed it, I picked the 6th pick of the draft.
Yep. And so this is a half-point PPR league. There's no wacky settings in terms of scoring. 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, 1 kicker, 1 defense, and 5 on the bench. Now, before we get into that, understand what your league makeup is. Understand what your lineup makeup is. If you're having to start 3 wide receivers and 1 running back, or 2 running backs, then naturally you're going to want to take wide receivers early because you have to play more of them. You can play up to 5 a week if you want. But if you're in a league that's 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, then you probably do want to go running back early, or you're more likely to go running back early, because that's where the advantage might be. But I think the more players you start, the more that the wide receivers start to come into their own, as far as I'm concerned.
That is a good point, and that's something we didn't really mention. If it's a 3 wide receiver, 2 running back league and a flex, you might want to lean on wide receivers a little bit more because you have to fill minimum 3 wide receivers. You can go 4 if you put 1 in the flex, but you only need 2 running backs to fill. And that kind of makes it want you to sit there and think, okay, should I just grab the wide receivers early because I have 3 to fill other than the RBs? I think that's a good point that we didn't really touch on.
Yep, and that's knowing the composition of your league as well. If we talk about wide receiver 1s, 2s, that's not where they necessarily play on the field. But if you can look at it and go, I have 4 wide receivers in the top 24, that's a real advantage because that gives you a numerical advantage over the 11 other players because it should be an average of 2 per person in that top 24.
Yes. That being said, your running back situation might be a little dire, and you're going to be relying on the backup RBs or a potential injury, but, I mean, you'll have some stacked wide receivers.
But yeah, this is the fun. This is the fun of the draft. Let's do it.
That is the fun. All right, so before you hit start, give me a prediction. Who's going first pick?
Be Jefferson.
Are you picking Justin Jefferson first overall, by the way?
No, I don't want the first pick this year. I would probably take the...
You don't have a choice. Like, come on. If it's a randomized draft, you don't have a choice.
If I can't trade out of it, which is what I would be doing to try and get someone who wants to trade out for Jefferson. Look, to be honest, I probably would go Jefferson.
God, why? It's okay. This is a half point PPR.
I'll tell you why. Because he's going to be the alpha in that offense, which he has been the last couple of years. Cousins is an efficient quarterback. I think that Minnesota team is going to be probably playing from behind. They're a bit of a fugazi playoff team last year. I think they're probably not as good. We're going to see lots of opportunity for Jefferson. He could potentially cross 2,000 yards. And, you don't want to predict injury, but McCaffrey has that history. Personally, I would probably take Eckler over McCaffrey at 2.
Oh, God.
I had him as my RB1 last year, and where did he finish? He was RB1. I love Austin Eckler.
He is.
He's a potential 1,000 receiver, 1,000 running back.
Yeah. The only reason, so in my opinion, the correct answer is Christian McCaffrey's 101, and the only reason why I would take him over Austin Eckler is Austin Eckler's not happy. He wants to be traded.
Yes.
He's not happy, and if a team usually notices that the running back is unhappy, they will potentially start looking at a replacement.
I think if I don't think they're going to trade him, but it also means they might run him into the ground because they're like, well, we're going to get rid of this dickhead next year. They don't need to play the long game with him. They can just get every bit of football out of him.
Potentially, yes, that is true. That is true. Or he could pull a Le'Veon Bell and just get hurt, or act like he got hurt. Or no, that wasn't Le'Veon Bell.
No, that was Allen Robinson.
There we go. That genius. Yeah, that genius.
Plenty of players have done that.
And Kenny Golladay. He did that too.
Well, no, I think he was just shit.
On the Lions?
Yeah, he wasn't great.
He had touchdowns. Anyway.
He did.
Anyway.
Right. We ready to roll here?
Yeah. Personally, I think you should go Christian McCaffrey. Solid offense. He's going to get his. And he has a big ceiling. Like, he has, 3-4 touchdown ceilings. I think it's really good. Anyway. All right. Hit it.
He also has, weird Shanahan play calling.
Yeah.
Limiting energy.
Yeah.
Where it'll be like, oh, McCaffrey's blowing up. By the way, we're not going to give him the ball in the second half. And we don't know what that offense is going to look like, whether it's Purdy, whether it's...
McCaffrey's going to get his.
Yeah, obviously.
True.
Right, ready?
All right. Jamar... Okay, what?
So, while you're thinking, I'll read the thing. So, we've had
Please do.
Chase, Jefferson, McCaffrey, Hill, Eckler. Nearly fell to you there. What are you thinking here?
Jamar Chase went 101?
Yeah.
Blasphemy. Okay. So, Jamar
Tyreek
Chase...
Hill at 4. He might not even play. He fucking punched an old man over a boat.
I mean, to be fair, that old man asked for it.
Maybe it was you. People kept charging shit to his room.
True. So, let's see. Austin Eckler gone. McCaffrey's gone. Elite RBs. Cream of the crop gone. And honestly, the cream of the crop wide receivers, I didn't expect that happening. They're gone. I have the ability to take Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce. I'm honestly not going to take Travis Kelce. He's not in consideration. I don't want to tight end this early. So Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce, or eliminate Travis Kelce, Bijan Robinson, or Saquon Barkley. I am not willing to risk Bijan Robinson being my 101. I don't want to do that. I feel like
he's the most fun pick to make. Here,
he is the most fun pick.
I kind of agree.
He is the most fun pick.
I think if you were at the 8 or 9, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want him to be... If he ends up being a really good player, that's cool. Somebody else could take on that risk. I don't want to be the one to take on that risk. But man, do I want a running back. So right now, if I want a running back, I got to go for Saquon, Jonathan Taylor. That doesn't fill me with confidence. That really doesn't fill me with confidence.
We got 22 seconds left, so
I know.
Pick anyone.
It hurts to say I'm taking Cooper Kupp, but I'm going to be taking Cooper Kupp.
There you go.
So Sleeper changed their draft noise because it didn't make this noise.
No, I'm on the clock at 1:12. Next picks were Kelce, Barkley, Taylor, Robinson, Diggs.
There's no surprises. This seems kind of straightforward.
Kind of hoping that Diggs would slip.
Okay.
And I was going to stack him and Allen. But we can talk stacks next week. So my options here, I think, are... Well, the options here are A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb, Nick Chubb, I guess Devontae Adams. Who's going to come back to me?
So Kelsey's gone, number 1 tight end. Saquon gone. Jonathan Taylor gone. Bijan Robinson is gone. That really takes away the
A.J. Brown is the best pick. He's a gun in that offense, which leaves C.D. Lamb, which I like the idea of having that 1-2 NFC East punch.
Okay.
But I'm going to go Nick Chubb, who, without Kareem Hunt there, will be the workhorse.
I was really hoping that he would potentially come back to me. I was really hoping. That would have been a stretch, but he's gone.
But that, I guess, in a true sense, that's me being flexible, because I would have normally gone 2 wide receivers there.
Okay, so let's see. So I do like the picks. A.J. Brown, Nick Chubb, I think those are very solid picks out of you right there. Those are nice staples. You got a 1-1. After that, C.D. Lamb taken, Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson. Is this early for Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, that's a... Yeah. Team 7 going hard with Kelce and Wilson do not like that at all. Garrett Wilson, that's all situation. A bit like you said with Bijan Robinson, I'm okay to miss the bus on it this year.
Yeah, that is true. Now, I will say the
he's
team
a good
before...
player, but I don't think he's going to win me my league.
Yes.
He's more likely to lose me my league at that position.
It's too early to take a risk. You got to take players that are going to be foundational parts of your team this early in the draft. You don't know if he's going to be a foundational part of your team. Even Amon-Ra St. Brown at 205, that's skeptical in my opinion. I like the Sun God, but I wouldn't do that. So I do want to say the team before you, Team 11, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, I like that.
That's scary.
You've got 45 seconds to make a pick here.
All right, so I have to go RB here. I am for sure going RB here. And looks like Derrick Henry is available on the board. So my first pick is going to be Cooper Kupp. Second pick is going to be Derrick Henry. I like that.
Yeah, that would have been a great team 3 years ago. I would have thought Jalen Waddle is the way to go there. Josh Jacobs not reporting to camp at the moment. Tony Pollard was also interesting for me there. You're back on the clock now. I'll let you do some thinking while I say the next picks were Waddle, Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Hurts. 3 quarterbacks in the second round. Keep an eye on that this year. This is a 1 quarterback league, remember. Breece Hall, Ramondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Chris Olave. Team 3 here, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris. This is like your dream start.
Yeah, right now. This guy had a good... He's got good RBs. Man. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
No. You're on the clock now.
Yeah, I know. I'm still thinking.
So, for those of... As Nader thinks here, got Mark Andrews, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Joey Burrow, Ken Walker, Lamar Jackson, and then Jamar Gibbs. The R brothers, maybe that'll be a thing for us this year. Jameer Gibbs. That doesn't really work.
No, it doesn't. So let's see. Right now, in my thought process is do I want to go with Sheahan's strategy of the sandwich? Right. I got my wide receiver. I got my running back. Do I want to grab the tight end and continue that sandwich going on, or do I want to shake and bake a little bit? Maybe grab a second RB. There's Kenneth Walker on the board. Do I want T. Higgins or Devontae? Maybe even DK. DK looks kind of nice. Deebo Samuel's there. He's available. He's looking kind of interesting in my opinion. Or do I want to go with the tight end in Mandrews? And honestly, I think I'm going to continue your sandwich strategy, and I'm going to go with Mark Andrews.
That's fair. I think he's a difference making tight end. I'm now on the clock. I had my eye on DK Metcalf here at this pick. He's still there. The next picks were Higgins, Devonta Smith, Joe Burrow, Ken Walker, Joe Mixon.
I do like Kenneth Walker this year. Joe Mixon took a pay cut to stay on the Bengals. I think the writing is on the wall that he's going to be gone. So the run him into the ground strategy, I think, is going to be in full effect for him.
It's going to be a double tap for me here. DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel.
Oh, that's a really good one. That's a really good. Oh, that's frustrating that you did that.
That gives me extreme ceiling,
yeah,
which I like.
Yep.
I am considering. I've gone for Metcalf. I'm considering Jackson.
Yeah.
4 quarterbacks already off the board.
Yeah.
I do like him.
Yeah.
You will be hoping that he comes back to you.
He's not going to.
He's not going to come back to you.
No.
I think the cut price, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, is still there. I don't love Keenan Allen. I don't love Aaron Jones. I don't love Amari Cooper. Calvin Ridley, I think, is too much hype. Jameer Gibbs would be interesting. We don't know how we're going to use him. Again, I'm okay missing the bus, which leaves me my boy Deebo.
That's solid right there. I have no complaints on your team right now. Oh, Justin Fields taking a pick before me. I already had him queued up. That is disappointing right there. So the picks before, while I'm getting my sorrow, as you mentioned, Justin Fields, Gibbs, Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, Lamar Jackson. That hurts. That hurts a lot. What are you thinking right now? I should be asking myself that.
I think the pick is Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
We've got Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, he's Amari Cooper.
Yeah, but that's why.
Calvin Ridley is all camp hype at the moment. A lot of mouths to feed in that offense, though. You don't need Hawkinson. I wouldn't take him here anyway. J.K. Dobbins is intriguing. Justin Herbert, no.
You see, J.K. Dobbins would be intriguing if they didn't just sign Melvin Gordon.
What about DeAndre Hopkins and go all in on this high-powered Titans offense?
That's the problem. It's still too early in the draft. Too early in the draft to fall for hype. I can't do it to myself. Because I know if it doesn't work out, I'm going to sit there wallowing in my sorrow, crying in the shower, going, why did I pick a hype player? Like, I got to pick somebody who's picking consistent.
Let me ask you this while you're thinking.
Okay.
Would you have rather picked any of those other players who went after Mark Andrews and taken George Kittle here?
The problem with George Kittle is, one, he's injury prone, and two, he's so inconsistent. So I'm going to take Miles Sanders. Sorry, I just want.
You took Sanders, good.
Yeah, I just said screw it. I'll take him.
So off the board, Nader took Miles Sanders, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Justin Herbert, TJ Hockenson, DJ Moore. Interested to see how he goes this year. J.K. Dobbins, Drake London, Dameon Pierce. Team 3 now has McCaffrey, Jacobs, Harris, Herbert, Pierce.
God.
Kittle, McLaurin. Team 5 is doing the club sandwich approach. Austin Eckler's the bread, and then we've got Waddle, Olave, Ridley, McLaurin.
Is that really a sandwich? That's like a...
That's the sandwich.
That's a meat. That's a meat. That's like
the
meat,
running back
meat,
is
meat.
the bread, and then everything else is the filling.
No, because he's only one thing that they just got wide receiver. It's not a filling. I get the filling.
That's the filling. That's the filling. Eckler's the bread, and then there's the filling.
Yeah, but they did Waddle, Olave, Ridley. That's all wide receiver. It's not like tomatoes, lettuce,
you ever had
pickles.
Like a mixed deli meat sandwich? It's fucking incredible.
No, it's not even a mix. It's all wide receivers. That's all. It's like lettuce. No,
it's not lettuce. It's turkey. It's turkey. It's roast beef.
What I did, I got it right now. I'm rocking an lettuce, bacon, tomato.
No, you got like a fucking burrito bowl or something going.
Ew,
it's
I don't
just
like
a
burritos.
Mess.
It's not a mess. I got studs. What do you? God, you are. I swear to. Oh.
I'm in my grub era.
Yeah. Okay, so who am I looking at right now? I have flexibility at this point. I can go another running back or another wide receiver if I'd like, which sounds like a really good idea. Or I could start looking at quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence is available. Dak Prescott. That's as far as I'd go. Other than that, I'm probably just waiting all the way till the end for a wide quarterback. But I'm kind of struggling on wide receivers. I would like at least one more alongside Cooper Kupp, and there's one of a little bit of a favorite of mine. I'm going to take Christian Watson. I don't mind. It might be a little bit of a reach to take him in the mid-5th round, but he's my personal preference. I like him over Jerry Jeudy. I like him over DeAndre Hopkins. I like him over Chris Godwin, and if I like him more than those people, and those people just got drafted right after him, I feel like, okay, then he's the one I should be taking.
Yeah, I like that pick. Judy, Hopkins, Pitts, Akers, and Godwin next. You know his name's Rod Godwin?
Rod Godwin?
What if that's such a better name than Chris Godwin?
Rod Godwin. That sounds like a name for a different type of profession.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought as well. So my options here are Trevor Lawrence, if I want to go quarterback. I don't. I want to hold off. I think the smart move here is a double tap at running back.
Yes.
And my options are Dalvin Cook, currently unsigned but an excellent player. James Conner, DeAndre Swift, Alexander Madison. I do like Magic Mike Williams, but I'm not going to pick him here. You know I like Kayla Swift in that high-powered offense. I'm going to go Alexander Madison.
Yeah, okay.
And then it's a toss-up between James Conner, who I think they're going to lean on, but they're going to have limited red zone opportunities. My mind's telling me Dalvin Cook, who is the best player available, but unsigned is a concern. I'm going to go Kayla Swift. You know he's one of my favorites.
True. So why does Alexander Madison have such a horrible ADP right now in the late 5th to early 6th round?
I think we're seeing the trend of, because it's an average, so the drafts haven't shifted to bring him up, and we can see Cook is falling. They're about to meet in the middle and overtake each other. I'm interested in Madison. I think at this pick he is good value.
Yeah, I think so. I think more than good value, considering he's the RB1.
Ooh, I was going to ask you if you were going to take Cook if he was on the board there, but he's gone. So I took Madison and Swift. We've got James Conner, Dallas Goedert. That Team 10 is a mess, man.
It is.
We've got Rashad White, Hollywood Brown, Dalvin Cook. Now, while Nader is thinking, that Team 10 is Bijan Robinson, Patrick Mahomes, Ken Walker, Aaron Jones, Cam Akers, Dallas Goedert. Now, what we can infer from all of this is these guys are going to have to go hard at wide receiver. As you start to see these trends, you can be flexible. So it's not just about the players you're drafting, it's about the players that other teams have to draft. I can look at this board and say, in a one quarterback league, 7 teams have a quarterback so far. So 5 teams have to take him. That means I can look at who the next best 5 quarterbacks are and plan my strategy about which one of those I want and when I'm going to have to take that player.
Nice,
who are you looking at?
Sorry, I was doing a little hot research for a second. So right now I am looking at what I could do and who I like. So I have 2 wide receivers in Cooper Kupp and Christian Watson. Technically, I still need a third one to fill up my roster. So who do I look at the wide receiver spot that I like? I see Mike Williams. Don't like him at all. Never going to touch him in my life. I see Brandon Ayuk. Solid pick right there. Michael Pittman. Rather not have a piece in the Indianapolis offense. Tyler Lockett. Solid piece. Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk intrigues me. And Brandon Ayuk intrigues me. I would like one of those two. Right now I'm leaning Brandon Ayuk. But then I also see Javonte Williams available. And he's also very interesting. Considering he's coming back off the PUP list. But I need to fill up my wide receiver 3 spot. So I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk.
I thought you might have gone the 40-year-old virgin, Tyler Lockett.
I thought about it. But I don't want anybody on the Seahawks.
That's fair.
That's
and
fair.
again, this is a great example of knowing your league mates. Nader is a 49ers fan, hates the Seahawks, doesn't want a part of it.
I mean, I'd do Kenneth Walker and
True.
DK Metcalf. You know, elite players, then you're going to have to sacrifice your fandom for fantasy football wins. But when it comes to depth, no, I'm not doing Tyler Lockett. I'm sorry.
So we've seen Lawrence, Lockett, Magic Mike Williams, Magic Mike Evans, Magic Mike Pittman,
A lot of Mikes.
Javonte Williams, Deontay Johnson, the Tay brothers, Darren Waller, Alvin Kamara, Christian Kirk, which leaves us back with... I think you're probably going to go an RB here.
Yes.
Isaiah Pacheco, David Montgomery are your 2 options. Who are you leaning?
I like Isaiah Pacheco. I do like him. I don't like David Montgomery much. But unfortunately, with the news out, I think I'm going to be taking James Cook.
Interesting.
Yeah, so right now it's a toss-up between Pacheco and Cook. And whatever happened to Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Whatever happened to him real fast? Let me do it quick.
It's a fun little joke for no one here. Pacheco and Cook, you don't hear that in the same sentence too often.
Yeah, but see, the problem is Cook doesn't have that much. What if they signed Dalvin Cook? Dalvin Cook, and then, oh, God, they got Cook brothers?
Too many cooks, mate. Spoil the
I know.
broth.
I know. The problem... I'm going to take Isaiah Pacheco because of the offense.
Yeah, I think that's a good, well-reasoned pick.
Yeah, but right now, James Cook, his ADP is going to skyrocket, I think, pretty soon. Kind of the same with Alexander Madison. It hasn't fully
now
came to fruition.
Next off the board, Smith and Jigba, Dave Montgomery, Treylon Burks, George Pickens, Jahan Dotson. I wanted George Pickens because I think he's a nice wide receiver 4 for my team. For that team 10 that we've talked about, he's their wide receiver 1. I don't feel comfortable with that.
What a savage.
Jordan Addison, who I love, who can't seem to stay out of the headlines at the moment. Dak is very interesting to me. Deshaun Watson is a piece of shit. I think for me, I've got my double picks here. I could go AJ Dillon and get a pretty good running back on a running back heavy offense.
Yeah.
I could go Jordan Addison. I'm in a position where I could take wide receiver upside. I'm not going to. Kadarius Toney, excellent player, can't stay on the field. Your best friend in the world, Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, don't mention
If
him.
I wait on running back, I'm probably looking at Tua. And then we're like Kirk Cousins. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback to wait on. We don't know how he's going to look in that offense. Who do you want, Rodgers or Dak this year?
Dak, but
It's good enough for me. I'm going to take Dak there. I would have been happy to wait on Rodgers, but I'm going to take Dak.
yeah,
And then I've got 3 running backs. I've got 3 wide receivers.
yeah, you have
I
a
can
solid.
go upside. I'm going to go AJ Dillon. It's a more conservative pick, but I'm okay with that. I have
He's
my
gonna
eye
be
on
safe.
another running back a little bit later. So from here, I'm going to try and stack stack receivers.
So it was nice of everybody to allow James Cook to reach as far. So I will be taking him, but potentially at other people that I could be looking at, because let's see. Right now, my lineup shows Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Miles Sanders, Christian Watson, Brandon Ayuk, Isaiah Pacheco. Now it's going to be James Cook. Do you see any issues with this lineup so far?
I would want, given you've got Watson and Ayuk, I would go wide receiver because you're quite thin there. They're two player, but the option like for your wide receivers, Gabe Davis, who we both dislike, Kadarius Toney, who kind of falls into the same category as Watson and Ayuk.
Exactly.
Juju. I think you go best player available. If you want to go, I thought you'd already taken a quarterback. I was going to say if you'd already taken a quarterback, you want to go balls to the wall. You take Anthony Richardson because that guy could be anything.
Yeah.
And that's a risky pick this early on, but this is like swing for the fence. I think you're within your rights to take Cook here.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. He is the best player, technically the best player available. I'm going to take him. And now I feel like I have a really strong running back lineup.
Tua maybe would have been your other one.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of Tua too much. I don't know how I feel about him.
Team 5 here. Team 5, they just picked up Richardson.
God.
This is a horrible, for a one quarterbacker. They've got Eckler, Waddle, Olave, Ridley, McLaurin, Lawrence, Kirk, Tony, Richardson. That guy's going to have to go all in on running backs in this back half of the draft.
This guy's a savage.
Yeah.
I respect it.
I'm kind of into it. You're on the clock again. Who are you looking at?
Honestly, so I'm looking at my wide receivers right now, and I see Cooper Kupp. I look at Christian Watson, and I see Brandon Ayuk. And I'm thinking, can I stack one of these people? And obviously, we're going to discuss stacks more aggressively next week. But Matthew Stafford has an ADP of like 159 right now. So I can get him in the technically almost undrafted era. I've decided that I'm going to be waiting on a quarterback, and I'm going to take Matthew Stafford all the way at the end and stack him with Cooper Kupp. That has been my decision. So now that I've deciphered that, I don't need to take a quarterback anytime soon. I don't have to look at that tab. I can just skip it for now, not worry about it 1 second. So now I could look at it and see who do I need, and I would like another wide receiver. Sorry, and I look at my options. I see Juju Smith-Schuster. Unfortunately, this is not a good list.
Rashad Bateman, your best mate.
Yeah. Don't worry. That's crossed my mind.
I think I know who you're going to pick here.
I know. I just saw the name, and I know who you're thinking, who I'm thinking, and I'm going to do it. But I would not be taking Juju, not taking Zay, Cortland Sutton potentially, but not really. Rashad Bateman, I already have Mark Andrews. I don't want to double up. Jamison Williams is gone. Elijah Moore is available, and he is he's somebody that I'm very interested in this year, and I think he's going to be really good in that Cleveland offense. In the 9th round, I feel like he's going to be a phenomenal complementary piece, bye-week piece, and even a potential starter for a high ceiling play, and then potentially a complementary draft piece that I can usually package to try to upgrade. I think Elijah Moore really fits that mold.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. So next off the board, Rashad Penny, Juju, Pat Frymouth, Zay Flowers, and then Jamal Williams. I was hoping Zay Flowers would fall. My options here, I want to take wide receivers. I think I'm going to double tap on running back. First one I'm going to take is Khalil Herbert. Should be the starter for Chicago. And in the 9th round, I will take a starting NFL running back. I'm interested in Cortland Sutton. Bit of noise about him going to the Patriots. Don't want much of that offense. I've got to scroll down to find a wide receiver I like. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait. You know I like Rashad Bateman, but there's just too much noise around him at the moment.
Yep. And I think he's trapped.
Damian Harris, for the same reason you took James Cook, I think he's a better running back. We've seen him do it in the NFL. It might be slightly too early at the 10-1.
Okay. I don't think so. At this point, like I feel like, okay, if you wait another round and he's gone, you might be like kicking yourself for it. The 10th round, realistically, who's going to stay in your lineup without the year?
I don't really need him. He would be my running back 6.
Yeah.
Which means that if I'm looking to pick someone up, he's probably droppable. But I guess kind of everyone at this level is.
Yeah.
Jamison Williams, he's only out. Is he 4 weeks?
Jamison Williams?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's click the link, and according he is.
It's not telling me.
Wow. Did not have a rookie season. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, they really decided not to tell us.
How
Jamison Williams. I think he suffered an injury. Suspend. Google, help me out here. Okay,
Six games.
Google, just tell me.
6 games is a lot to carry him. I'm going to go Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Don't love the pick, but I had 1 second left.
Oh, you could have just paused it.
I mean, don't give too much of a peek behind the curtain.
Oh. Alrighty, so let's see. You took Cortland Sutton.
Took Cortland Sutton.
Jamal Williams next. Or sorry, Jameson went right after that. So he's going to carry him for 6 weeks. But to be fair, no, he has the ability to do that. Kirk Cousins off after that. Rashad Bateman after that. Damian Harris right after that. Geno Smith. That's an interesting one. He's could be a sneaky one for everybody. I like that one. And right now I have the ability. So I already have my tight end. I got 4 wide receivers. And I got 4 running backs. So I have free flexibility to decide, you know what, I filled up my starters, I filled up my flex, I filled up a solid bench. I have the ability to do exactly what I want. So I could start a run on kickers and defense right now. I could take the best kicker. I could take Justin Tucker. And after that, I could probably take the San Francisco defense if I want, the Dallas defense, Eagles defense, Bills defense. You know, I can have my pick in an elite defense.
Yeah.
Or I could try to go for more depth. Because realistically, after probably the 7th round, maybe the 8th round, the players just don't really matter. Like really, if you go back at your previous years of your draft and look who stayed on your roster, probably nobody from 6th round and down.
Yeah.
So if you take a kicker and a defense here, I think that's probably the smartest thing you could do. Because guess what? They're playing every week, and they're an elite team. Especially like the Niners defense, chances are you're probably not benching them too often unless for a specific matchup that they really don't have a good one on. But I see Elijah Mitchell on the board. So I take him.
Yeah, I get your point with the kicker and defense. I think it's probably still slightly too early.
You think?
I would maybe go, for me, the 13th, 14th round as opposed to 15th. I know it's not much, but it's just slightly too early for me.
Slightly too early? That's fair. All right. So maybe 10th round's a little too early, but I think when you have your starting lineup filled and you know that personally, like I mentioned earlier, Matthew Stafford is going late and I'm going to take him late.
I think the logic is sound.
Logic. Okay. I appreciate it. That's all I needed to hear. I needed that validation in my life. So, I mean, I specifically took Elijah Mitchell a little bit early than his ADP suggests, but I mean, realistically, 10th round doesn't matter. I mean, he's back up to...
I might have gone McKinnon there, sew up the Kansas City backfield, but Elijah Mitchell's a good running back.
Because I already have Pacheco, I didn't want to double down on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Elijah Mitchell, I mean, Christian McCaffrey likes to get hurt every so often. So does Elijah Mitchell, but I mean, he's going to be the backup to a Sheahan offense. If I can solidify a potential piece of that, I'm going to go for it. So I did mention that I want Matthew Stafford later. For some odd reason, I feel like you're going to do it and just take Matthew Stafford just to stick it to me.
No, not at all. I think I really like this as a strategy. I'm not going I've got my eye on a second quarterback. It's not Stafford though.
Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna do that. All right, so that means you know what? I'm taking Justin Tucker.
Fair enough.
That's it. I got the world's best kicker on my team.
Now, this is not my aforementioned second quarterback, but as much as I kind of dislike him, I'm interested in Russell Wilson here.
You're gonna stack.
We've seen what he's able to do.
You're gonna stack. Oh, okay.
I could stack him with Cortland Sutton.
But when is Cortland Sutton gonna be in your starting lineup? Because
if
you have AJ Brown
out with Russell Wilson, he will be.
Yes, but you have AJ Brown, you have DK Metcalf, and Deebo Samuel. Yes, you could put him in your flex technically.
I mean, potentially, he's my wide receiver 4.
Yes,
I have to start 3.
Yes,
I would. I mean, I should be going wide receivers here. So Tyler Boyd, yeah, maybe. Sky Moore, yeah, maybe. Rondale Moore has a nice ceiling.
I think Sky Moore is a really good pick. While there's just a handful of receivers in Kansas City, nobody really sticks out.
I'd be interested in Zeke. Do you think he plays this year?
I don't want him. Like, Dalvin Cook's still available in the free agency.
Yeah, true. We've got a little bit deep at Nico Collins.
Interesting.
Tyler Boyd, plug and play. If there's something that happens to Chase or Higgins, he becomes immediately very interesting.
Correct.
I'm going to go Jonathan Mingo, my favorite wide receiver in this class.
Okay.
I think he could be the one in Carolina by the end of the year. And that he should pair well with Bryce Young or Andy Dalton. And Sky Moore, Rondale Moore, Rashee Rice. Nice, good noises about Romeo Doubs coming out of camp. Stack Michael Gallup with Dak Prescott. I could wait in all of those. I'm going to take Matthew Stafford.
That triggered me a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was waiting for the pang of recognition. Tyler Algier, I guess, in that Falcons offense.
Yeah,
I don't really like any of the picks here.
I mean, that's why. Like, right, that's why I
need
go ahead.
a tight end. So, Juwan Johnson in New Orleans with Derek Carr. I want... what's the guy's fucking name that I want, Nader?
Evan McPherson?
No, he is...
Right now, I see this as two Tylers.
I'm going to take Mike Gesicki.
Oh,
because I think he ends up being New England's wide receiver 1.
Interesting. That's an interesting pick right there. Let's see. I mean, we haven't really done a rundown on the draft picks in a while. Granted, they're all kind of irrelevant at this point. But after Elijah Mitchell, I'm gonna take a stride at it. Devon Achane.
A-Chain.
Devon A-Chain. He got taken right after Elijah Mitchell, Alan Lazard, Daniel Jones,
Chiga Kwonkwo. Chigoziem Okonkwo is his name.
Chigoziem Okonkwo, a guy taken after that. Dalton Schultz, Aaron Rodgers, Jerick McKinnon, Dalton Kincaid. God, just have normal names, people. Have normal names. Odell Beckham.
Did you see the college football all-name team that someone put out last week?
No, I don't want to know.
A guy that we're going to be tracking closely over the next 4 years, assume we're still doing this. Tight end at FIU, Rowdy Beers.
Nice. I like that one.
We having a quiet night, or we going to have some Rowdy Beers?
So Odell Beckham, Greg Dulcich, and then, of course, I took Justin Tucker, Cole Kmet, Jared Goff, Jacoby Myers, Adam Thielen, Darnell Mooney, and then, of course, you took your Jonathan Mingo and your Mike Gesicki, Tyler Higbee, Tyler Algier. I was kind of hoping he would come back to me. Devin Singletary, Devontae Foreman, and no defense is taken. So congratulations. I am now the owner of not only the best kicker in Justin Tucker and the best defense in the San Francisco 49ers.
So we had Gerald Everett, Kendre Miller, Sky Moore, Tyler Boyd, Rondale Moore, the Moore brothers, Raheem Mostert, Bryce Young, Tank Bigsby, Rashee Rice. Is it Justin Warren?
Warren? Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren. Justin Warren is a guy I know.
Nice.
Yeah. He was on Neighbours.
Was he a nice guy?
Away. He was on one of those. Yeah, he's a very nice man.
Huh.
Call him Hollywood.
Hold on. Rashee Rice. Is that Jerry Rice's son?
No.
Oh.
No, Jerry Rice's son is long grain rice.
It's bad. I thought that's funny. So, let's see. Kyler Murray is actually available. That's interesting.
Yeah, there'd be people picking him in best ball.
Yeah. It's a very good
this is your pick to take Stafford, I think. Just sew it up.
Yeah, I was gonna take Stafford, but then I was looking on the list. I see Kyler Murray right there. I do want to say somebody did take Matthew Stafford before me, and I couldn't perform that stack. I would do it with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I would not mind that stack at all. I wouldn't mind as much as I wouldn't mind taking a 49ers quarterback. I don't know which one it's going to be, so I'm not going to do it. Kyler Murray would be a really good pick right now at this point, but I'm going to go with my stack, and I'm taking Matthew Stafford.
There you got Stafford, Zeke, Rashawn Johnson from Chicago, running back, Jeff Wilson, Romeo Doubs, Dawson Knox. I am going to take a kicker or a defense with this pick. Younghoe Koo kicks in a dome. That offense should be better. I'm going to go with him.
Solid pick.
And I'm going to take a second quarterback. And that's Trey Lance to stack with Deebo Samuel.
I had a feeling. Kyler Murray taken. That is a good, solid pick from Team 11. Michael Gallup. Tajay Spears. Sam Laporta. Zay Jones. All right, now I'm back on the clock. And at this point, I have my set roster now. That's it. Like everybody that I picked, kicker, defense, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, quarterback, tight end.
It's house money now.
Yeah, now I'm kind of picking of who I potentially like and who I think could be a really good one. And I'm interested in, so who can I take that would really solidify my team if somebody was to get injured? I hate playing this way, but you know what? Guess what? It happens in football.
Yeah, handcuffings is a thing for a reason.
And Kenneth Gainwell seems interesting. Chuba Hubbard.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I looked at it.
Ooh, actually, there's a pick here that I want. It's not going to come back to me, though.
So I'm actually going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know I have Pacheco, but now if for some odd reason Clyde Edwards-Helaire does become the starter again, then I at least have a starter in that offense, if that makes sense.
So Jerome Ford, Jordan Love, Nico Collins, DJ Shark, Wan'Dale Robinson, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, the Buffalo Bills, Evan McPherson, Daniel Carlson, and you are back, baby.
Back, baby.
You got 2 more picks.
Got 2 more picks.
2 more picks.
I'm going to go Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Ah, you son of a bitch. That's who I was going to go.
Let's go, baby.
I really like that pick.
Yeah.
Harrison Butker, the New York Jets, the Dolphins, Tyler Bass, and the Patriots. Peoples-Jones, I think that is the best chance you're going to have at a wide receiver 2 this late.
Yes, I think so as well.
I should have picked him with my last pick.
Yeah, the only problem... Now, I would be open to trading him for you because I do have Elijah Moore. That means I have 2 Cleveland wide receivers. Chances are one of them is going to overtake the wide receiver 2 role.
Yep.
Same reason why I took Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Even though I own Pacheco, now I know for sure I'm going to have a stake in that offense.
I'll trade him for this right here.
Okay, I'm interested.
That's good. That's good in an audio medium. I was giving him the finger. So I still need a defense. They're walking off the board. I don't really care. Kenneth Gainwell, Sam Howell, probably not. Josh Downs.
How
Downs
interested are you in Hunter? How interested are you in Hunter Renfrow?
Not especially. Slightly more interested in Chase Claypool, Robert Woods. Slightly more interested in Devontae Parker. Slightly more interested in Nathaniel Tank Dell.
There's Curtis Samuel. MVS.
I don't necessarily want too much of the New England offense, but Tariq is out there. I am going to go for Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson? Not bad.
Should be the wide receiver 2 for the Rams. And that leaves me with the last pick in the draft. I am going to take the Baltimore Ravens team.
No, last pick for your team in the draft.
Yeah. Last
so
pick
Myers, Seahawks, McManus, Matt Gay, Steelers defense. I am back on the board for the last pick of the draft. And now, I'm taking Taysom Hill.
Yep, I think that's a really good pick.
Yeah, backup tight end to Mandrews, and to be honest, I couldn't really think of anybody better. And Taysom Hill actually has potential, so it makes sense.
So, do you want to run through your team for the people?
Alrighty, so let's do a breakdown real fast. So Cooper Kupp, number 1, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Miles Sanders, Christian Watson, Brandon Ayuk, Isaiah Pacheco, James Cook. Every time I see a Cook, like the need to say like either Brandon or Dalvin Cook, but James Cook, Elijah Moore, Elijah Mitchell, Justin Tucker, San Francisco, Matthew Stafford, Clyde Edwards, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and then Taysom Hill. So before we run down on your team, can you give me the strengths and weaknesses of my team?
Good flexibility.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to be beholden to picking anyone, which is always good. That's a mindset thing. Obviously, you've gone early with, perceivably the best kicker, the best defense. I like the stack, Stafford Cup. If they're back to their best, that's a week-winning stack. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I like that. I think you're too thin at receiver. You have to start 3, which means that if something was to go wrong, you're either starting Moore or Peoples-Jones. And then potentially, if something really goes wrong, you're starting both. I like Taysom Hill. I think that's a really good pick at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, running backs are solid. I think it's a good all-round team. I don't know if you'd be walking away going, yep, this is a team that's going to win it, but I think it gives you a shout.
Yeah, I think this isn't a immediate, I won the draft, hand me the trophy right now. But I think this is a team that people are going to have to go against and say, okay, I have to put up, this is half-point PPR. I got to put up like 115 or 120 to make sure I win, because I feel like this team has a safety net at around 100.
Have a look at Team 7 there.
Okay.
Their running backs are Dalvin Cook, currently unsigned. Rashad Penny can't stay on the field with a new team and third on the depth chart. Deonta Foreman, who's probably second on possibly the worst offense in football. And Ezekiel Elliott, currently unsigned.
Yeah, so right now their starting lineup, their starting lineup is Rashad Penny and Deonta Foreman.
Yeah. Yeah. Which of these teams do you like the most? I think you're going to say Team 3.
I mean, as much as I really like that, they're really thin on wide receiver. Really thin on wide receiver.
But that's the thing about going heavy RB, you thin receiver. It's the same in the NFL when you see it on defenses. Teams going all in on the secondary can't afford pass rush. Teams that go hard on the pass rush have to make do in the secondary.
Yes, that is 100% correct. I mean, I do like Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, and Najee Harris. You have very solid running backs. But at that point, he took Justin Herbert for pick number 4. You can't do that. You got to take a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Got to take a wide receiver at that point, whether that was Amari Cooper, DJ Moore.
Did get the
Drake
Herbert
London.
Williams stack.
He did. But Mike Williams, he's just so inconsistent and frustrating to be an owner of. I can never recommend Mike Williams. And, I mean, Justin Herbert, I don't know. I wouldn't take Justin Herbert at that pick.
I've got a stack for you for next week.
Okay, I'm interested.
First round, Austin Eckler. Third round, Keenan Allen. Fourth round, Justin Herbert.
Oof,
and you really sew up that Chargers offense.
Yeah, you are going all in on the Chargers, which isn't a bad idea. It is a good offense, high-powered offense, tough division. They're going to have to put up points. It's not a bad idea. But say they have a bad day, then you lost your week.
I mean, that's it.
That's kind of the point.
All right, let me run through my team, and you can give it the once over. AJ Brown, Nick Chubb, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, Alexander Madison, DeAndre Swift, Dak Prescott, AJ Dillon, Khalil Herbert, Cortland Sutton, Jonathan Mingo, Mike Gesicki, Younghoe Koo, Trey Lance, Van Jefferson, and the Ravens defense.
I like the team. I like their first 6 from AJ Brown, Nick Chubb, DK Metcalf, Samuel, Madison, Swift. I'll even add Dak Prescott in there. I think those are all phenomenal picks. I think you really made the most of your spot, especially on those double taps. I think this is a good team from that point on. The only weakness I think is at the end. I don't think any of those players will ever see your starting lineup.
Who? Sutton, Mingo, Jefferson.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like Trey Lance, Jefferson. I mean, maybe on a bye. I mean, it depends on what happens with the Niners. Like Trey Lance, Jefferson, Mingo, maybe Sutton on a bye week.
Something happens to Cup. Jefferson's the number one in that offense.
Yeah.
Whether you want that or not, you could debate. If I left the draft, I'd be pretty happy with that team. I'd feel pretty confident.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
really
good
happy with how that went.
Yeah, it's a good team right there. Like,
I guess I'm pinning a lot on Madison and Swift.
Yeah, but it's not a bad thing to do because I mean Madison is RB1, and I believe so is Swift, right?
Yeah, he should be. But obviously Jalen Hurts is the RB1 in that.
That is true.
Well.
That is true.
And then you've got Dillon, who should be the one, Herbert, who should be the one. There's plenty of depth there. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that is true. And the only problem is you could only start 2, potentially 3 RBs, but I think you'll be starting. No, actually, no, you will be starting 3 RBs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting. It's going to come down to like AJ Dillon, Khalil Herbert, Sutton, and Mingo as my flex each week.
Yeah,
but that's okay. I can live with that.
It's not a bad. Yeah, it's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah,
it's not a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Any other team that you kind of look at and say, oh, they did kind of decent. I think maybe Team 1 has a semi decent team. I like it. No, I think that's it. Team 3, yeah, we talked about them. Who actually has a decent team? Team 11.
Yeah, I like Team 11.
Team 11.
Team 10 is fine. Team 11 is Diggs, Lamb, Mixon, Jackson, Godwin, Connor, Dotson, Gibson, Williams, Mooney, Higbee, Knox, Murray, Patriots, Myers.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Something to chew on.
It is. So anything different than what you expected?
In what sense?
Players in ADP positions.
Agree. Madison was probably lower. I don't think he's going to be there. I think he's going to be a third rounder come proper draft season.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson seems good value at his pick. Juju, I probably want a piece of that late. There's a run on like average running backs.
That's the problem.
2-3 turn.
That's the problem. Is there only is average running backs. You have Christian McCaffrey. You have Eckler. After that, you have average running backs.
Yeah, and that's why maybe you want a couple more in those middle rounds. But no, I'm kind of. I think that sort of played out about what I'm saying. There's a bit of a wasteland in those middle rounds there, but that's kind of typical.
Yeah, it is typical because after that there is a significant drop off in talent, and then you're taking players that you don't mind, but you don't necessarily want.
Yeah, you're looking at the upside rather than the downside, or hoping for the upside rather than looking at the downside.
All right.
Cool. Well, shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, this has been a long episode. I think next time when we start looking at stacks and stuff, I don't think we'll necessarily be doing a whole mock draft, but I think we'll be talking a lot of quarterback to wide receivers, or quarterback to even running back potentially. That you, and obviously quarterback to tight end, that you can really put together to double up on those points, double up on those touchdowns, yards, and all that good stuff. That I think really, it's a cheesy way to double up on your score without the downside of the donut, if you will.
Yeah, I mean it's a fairly solid strategy. It's worked for me pretty well.
Yes, I highly recommend it. We'll be discussing it a lot more next week's episode. But other than that, hey, Sheahan, where can everybody find you?
I am on whatever Elon Musk is calling Twitter this week.
Oh yeah,
I'm at Sheahan Solo. I'm the same on TikTok. That's it. Don't find me. You can also listen to Screen Pass, one of the other fantastic shows on the 32-bit network. We're going to be recording some more shows soon.
There we go. And you can find me on, I think it's Twitter or X now, at Top Tier Tactics _ or not. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Alrighty. Other than that, hey, good luck, everybody.
I'm ready for